this man is probably better off today than a lot of his peers were back then. So that makes me feel good. Yeah, that makes me feel good. Years ago, I would head up a Feed the Homeless drive, right? Mm-hmm. And Lower Wacker Drive, before the city of Chicago cleaned it up, you would find a lot of homeless people there. This was well before Tent City. Find homeless people down there. So what I would do, because I really didn't have any care for overcrowding my closets and things like that, so I would purge my home every year right before the holidays. Okay, and I would find myself filling up boxes and sometimes 10-foot box trucks with old jackets, old blankets, old towels, old shoes, and not even old as in worn, but just things that are going to be replaced. So we would take this U-Haul truck, me and a couple buddies, we'd take this U-Haul truck downtown, and we would literally just drive around looking for homeless people, okay? And we'd give them a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, a can of chicken soup, you know, a cup of coffee, some donuts, open up the back of the truck, hey, what size shoe do you wear? And it became something that, you know, if you and I said we're going to do this, you purge, I'd purge, we get our family members to purge. Now that 10-foot truck just turned into a 27-foot truck, right? Do this every year right before the holidays, so it's in that spirit. But there was one gentleman, Nick, who was on Lower Wacker Drive, and he was asleep. And I think when I woke him up, I startled him. I scared the shit out of him, right? He didn't know what was going on, right? So he looks up, and here's this big guy standing over me, and I was reaching for his hand, right? Because I was trying to shake his hand, and he thought that was odd, right? That I was trying to shake his hand, and we engaged in conversation for me to find out that, you know, he had just got put out of a shelter because he had a drug problem, and the man was hungry. And you know, I encouraged him to get up and get in the truck, and he didn't get in the U-Haul truck. He got in my truck, my personal truck. We went out to my condo, and the guy took a shower. He had a hot meal. I let him stay there for the night, right? And for some reason, I don't know what it was, but God just told me, you know, let this man stay here for the night because it was cold outside. Well, got back the next morning to check on this guy, and you know, he had cut the grass. You know, and cleaned up the backyard. And, you know, I say all that to say, I called the landlord, right? And I said, hey, listen, I want to sublet this place, right? And I'll give you another security deposit to add this guy, right? And, you know, again, biased and saying it's not bragging, but financially I was able to pay the rent up for the remainder of the lease, so she didn't have to worry about that. She ended up hiring him as a handyman. Okay, and just about 4 years ago, I did a purchase loan for the guy.
Oh, wow.
So that in itself, you know, I think I had tears in my eyes.
I was gonna say, you changed his life.
Because that's a true indicator of a life-changing moment. And for some reason, you know, the other guys, I would just say, hey, here's a sandwich, here's some coffee, right? And this guy, for some reason, I needed to wake him up. And I think what it was is that all of the other guys were just going to take everything. And this guy was asleep, right? So I took it upon myself to wake him up. And again, you know, just a couple years ago, 4 years ago, you know, I did a purchase for the guy.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? So that one sticks heavy. And there's some other things greater than that. But that one always resonates because, again, we hear every day about what people believe they can't do and what's not possible, right? And you get people who are in these situations, homeless or unemployed, or, you know, feel as though there's no way to make ends meet. So they clam up and they refuse to engage in conversation. We were talking about this earlier, right? With the power of the internet and technology, we tend to forget that as a people, we're most valuable to each other, but we have to engage, right? And I personally engaged on that morning when everyone else was just scattering around doing their own thing, right? And this man is probably better off today than a lot of his peers were back then. So that makes me feel good. Yeah, that makes me feel good.